from Seoul, Korea, and welcome to GOMTV.net. We're covering the WCS Korea StarLeague Season 2. I'm Tasteless. With me is Artosis. What's up, man?
Well, Tasteless, I'm doing pretty well. I was feeling a little bit sick the last couple days.
You were a little bit sick the last few days.
But that's okay, because here I am, and it's another exciting day of the round of 16.
I was not sick this weekend, but I didn't sleep funny, like with my shoulder up kind of like that. Now I can't quite turn my head and look at you. I have to pivot my torso.
I hate it when that happens.
It sucks, man.
So you're going to look like a defective robot today.
Basically.
You're going to look like what you are, a defective robot.
Take it back, Artosis. So today, we have some very exciting matches coming up. It's already been a great tournament so far.
Yeah.
If you're just now joining us, the early part of this tournament was best of ones, but we're now in the best of three phase.
That is correct. And in fact, some fates are already decided. Basically, there are 4 players already guaranteed going up and 4 players already guaranteed going down. So some of the matches we have here today may not look exactly like you would think. For instance, our first match, Soulkey going up against Parting. Soulkey's already winning. He's coming out of the group no matter what. Parting, no matter what, is out. So
the question is, how do you play when you're in a situation like that?
You got to take into consideration that Soulkey's team, STX Seoul, is still in the Pro League playoffs. They're playing against KT this week, so
it's not like he could just use any strategy.
No, is he going to use his absolute best ZVP?
Probably not.
No, probably not. He's going to use something, but not the absolute pinnacle of Soulkey.
Exactly. So here are the match results for the round of 16, day 4. And as you could see, as we already mentioned, Parting just not doing well so far in this group.
Bomber just killing it, man.
That was weird.
He knocked Flash out. Flash is going down, He's just, there's nothing left here for Flash. And then, of course, Hiva with that upset, the greatest set of all time, Tasteless.
And the greatest set of all time. Hiva against Fantasy. That was a lot of fun. Fantasy also 0-2 right now.
That's right.
We went into this. Look at this. Flash, Parting, Fantasy. These are all guys we expected to get out no matter what.
Yeah, that Group C, though, not decided at all yet. Some of it will be decided today, though. Now, here you can see what is already decided. Parting and Soulkey already decided. Symbol and Sue going to fight for that last spot.
Flash, Parting, Young are dead in this tournament.
They're completely dead. That doesn't mean that we won't still see them play a little bit. That is for sure Tasteless. In fact, we're watching Flash vs. Byung later on today.
They are dead. You might as well call them zombies now.
Yes, it's a zombie battle.
It's a zombie battle. However, as you can see in Group C and D, we don't know what's going to happen in Group C so far.
Yeah, Group C still has a lot up in the air.
Well, Fantasy, though, is still 0-2.
Yeah. But there's still a chance for a 3-way tie.
Exactly.
But that means Hiva has to lose to First today. First has to win for it still to.
I think there's a high chance that First could end up beating Hiva here.
Yeah, I would say so. In that last group, we actually have Trap and Supernova playing. The winner goes up, the loser is out.
Yes.
So some very, very important matches going on.
Now, if you're used to watching us, you might be wondering, why does the production look a little bit different here? Well, for one, this is a piggybacked broadcast. The players and the booths, they're not GOMTVs right now. The players are not in our studio right now. No. So what we're doing is we're essentially we wait for OnGameNet to start the games, and then we have our own in-game observers. Yeah. And we're doing this here in our studio, but of course it's just, Artosis, myself, camera guys at GOM, and the makeup ladies. So
yeah, but if you want, you can come down and watch. And
yeah, you absolutely can.
We had a really big crowd actually last week.
A surprisingly big crowd, the biggest one we've had for this tournament here. Yeah. Despite the fact that we don't have the players here in the studio, so come down. You can say hi to us. And of course, we're in the great area, Samsung Station, the Gangnam part of Seoul. Mm-hmm. So a lot of fun stuff to do besides just come here and watch us cast StarCraft 2.
Yeah. So, with that out of the way, Tasteless, I want to ask you, what did you do this weekend?
This weekend, I'm actually planning a trip to go see my father, so I did a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Got him some gifts and stuff like that. But
that's nice.
Other than that, I just kind of hung out. I did an episode of Try Hard. I almost beat Castlevania on NES.
How far did you get?
I got to Dracula. But then I realized, and I lost to Dracula, and then I realized I had not eaten in like 5.5 hours.
Either had Dracula.
So, probably after I go on this trip to see my dad, I will come back and probably play more of that. But other than that, just hang out, take it easy.
Cool.
Would you just play StarCraft while you were sick?
I watched VODs mostly. Didn't get to play that much.
Actually, that's the thing is when you're sick, it's pretty hard to actually play.
Yeah, I watched a lot, but I actually watched the new movie Pacific Rim.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
It's child you would be angry if you didn't go see it. Like, it's worth seeing.
It's action porn, basically.
It's
Is it
complete
just
action
robots
porn.
blowing each other with stuff.
If I could remove, if I could remove a lot of what they said during the movie, it would have been a lot better. Tasteless.
Oh yeah.
Not always the best writers for dialogue in those films.
The dialogue for stuff like that is.
It was really cool.
It's not some deep stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So here's today's matches. As you can see, parting up here against Soulkey. Not a very impactful match here, since Soulkey will advance to parting. Well, absolutely not. Then Byung against Flash. Haiva against First, and Trap against Supernova.
Yeah, the second half of the day is going to be absolutely amazing because those two matches matter so much.
Yeah, once we're past our appetizer matches, we're going to get to the real good stuff.
And the thing is, normally you'd think, well, Soulkey versus Parting, that could be the greatest match of all time. Well, the thing is, with Soulkey playing an important match later this week and already qualified, with Parting already not qualified, who knows what we're going to see. It's hard to say.
This format that we have here is different from the GSL Code S.
Yeah.
It is, normally we cover just one group in a day. Here we cover 4 groups, but not all of them in one day.
Yeah, and look, it's kind of interesting and exciting, this format, to have all sorts of different players playing each time you cast it. But because of reasons like this, the GSL format, I would argue, is a little bit more entertaining.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. Well, you got games like the one we're going to have here. This might not be that awesome.
It might not.
Parting could be like, no, you know what? I just want to beat Soulkey. Maybe we'll see that here.
Oh, it definitely could be. And in fact, if I'm Parting, why not? He doesn't have any matches coming up that are super important like Soulkey does. So
yeah,
I definitely do predict him to win. Probably a 2-1, losing to a weird all-in. That's my expert analysis.
I think you're not far off there, actually.
Yeah, but it is what it is. And that's good. That's fine.
Feel free to tell your friends to tune in, guys. A lot of people don't know that we at GOMTV are actually covering this tournament for on GameNet here. So a lot of people just know that it's you can watch the on GameNet production, but you can watch us here as well.
Yeah, and of course you want to do that because we'll talk about all sorts of interesting things. Yes.
So our first map is going to be Aklon Wastes. Now it's a one-on-one map. I think this should be a pretty dramatic game, actually, compared to some of the other maps we have on here. PvZ normally pretty epic on this.
Yeah, it normally is.
Some of that endgame Swarm host play.
Here's the thing. I think what we'll see from Soulkey is actually the reason why it's interesting is because it'll be something he absolutely does not do later this week against KT if he plays the Protoss.
That's very true. Yeah. And that's also a tricky thing when you are a pro gamer, especially somebody who ends up with a lot of matches because, if you use your best strat here in a match that might not matter as much for you, what are you going to do in the next match? So he might be experimenting with a certain build. We'll have to see.
Whereas if I'm Parting here, I think I'm playing just a solid, standard, strong game because you may as well pick up the win against Soulkey. That is actually something that can get into your brain as a pro gamer, even if you're like, well, I wasn't using my best strats. Right. It's like, well, I mean, he beat you, and that can get in your head. That does still hurt.
And as much as you try to make it like a Dragon Ball Z, where I was only using like 1/5 of my powers,
No, it's still
hit home.
It's a worthwhile match to win for both players.
Absolutely. So as soon as on GameNet is ready, we're ready to get this game going. Mm-hmm. It is 4 best of 3s today, unlike Code S, which would be 5. So, but still a lot of fun. And let us know who you think is going to win here today on Twitter. I'm Call Me Tasteless.
And I'm Artosis.
And together we're Tastosis.
That's right. Well,
so, your predictions for this. You're saying 2-1?
2-1 Parting for sure. Yeah. I would say, Soulkey obviously has to hide exactly what it is.
I think it's actually going to be a 2-0 Parting.
You think so?
Yeah,
okay,
I think
it could
so.
be. I feel like Soulkey's probably going to play like hyper aggressive because he's extremely good against Protoss.
Well, that would make the most sense.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm doing like very ridiculously aggressive builds that I'm not necessarily planning to use against any possible Protoss opponents.
All-ins that you could use again later on, but just at an unexpected point in time. So
Might
that's
even
definitely an option as well.
Something that could be very useful to him is to do an all-in that looks like a macro build that he's actually going to use, so that when it gets scouted, if he plays against a Protoss when he's playing KT in the Pro League playoffs, then suddenly they're like, I saw him do this against Parting. It's this type of all-in, and they make like 3 more cans and more sentries, and then Mutas fly into the base later on because he's a macro build.
Did you get the chance, by the way, to see Evo?
Yeah, I watched a lot of it.
I didn't see all of it that I want to. I'm going to actually catch up probably in a week from now after this vacation.
It was pretty fantastic. They put on such a show.
The results were wild.
Yeah.
It was going crazy.
I know. I can't believe Korea only got 3rd place.
We really want to Korea to win.
Wild.
So
yeah, want other games to feel like we feel in StarCraft.
Exactly. So that was a lot of fun to watch this week. If you haven't seen that, definitely check that out.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, it's going to be partying for Soulkey on AUCTION Waste. We just got to wait until this game is ready to go.
We do. And by the way, guys, last week I actually had to end up canceling Meta because the SC2L started.
Right.
Well, there's no SC2L this week. I've got the whole schedule so I can place Meta better. We are having Meta tomorrow morning at noon KST.
Don't miss it.
Myself, Katz, In Control, and Idra, focusing heavily on, of course, Korea and DreamHack, which is this weekend, which I'm going to.
Yeah, you're going to be going there. Yeah. I'll be in Indonesia visiting my dad. So
yeah.
We will not be here for the next casting day here, which will be on Thursday.
Yeah.
But
Wolf and Calder will take you through that.
Yes.
But you will miss your dose of taste doses,
this is
unfortunately.
True. So, again, we have the players in the game now, and I'm not sure if there's been a delay or something. Normally we would have started this match by now, so sit tight, and when it is ready, we'll get this going.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully they start soon. I don't know what could possibly
We've had a few
on.
delays so far in this tournament, a few PCs crashing.
Yeah, that happens.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, when it's that time, we'll be casting the games for you.
Yeah, casting the games.
Casting the games. So, I see we have some new people coming down here in the audience. Guys, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for
Sorry
showing
that there
up.
are no players here, but we appreciate you guys coming down. And again, you can always come to our
Some
studio.
people call you a player, Tasteless.
Thank you, Artosis. Thank you for that crafty joke.
You're welcome. I'm so clever.
Let's talk about the other matches since I guess we have to kill more time here, and I don't know what to fill this gap
Flash
with.
versus Byung, that's a funny one because they both are out.
Yes.
Both of them are out. I think Byung is going to show his absolute best play because this is a great...
he just wants to beat Flash.
Yeah.
I mean, at least being able to say that, I took out Flash
it's great
in a
experience
televised
as well.
match. Yeah.
But Flash is playing this weekend against STX, so how much of his play does he show?
That's another problem as well.
This match means very little for him compared to that.
In Korea, unlike the rest of the world, we just have nonstop StarCraft 2 matches all the time.
And for Kespa teams, team matches are actually more important than individual matches. Just so you guys know, it's completely
sponsorship dollars. Yeah.
Yeah. Completely opposite of the foreign scene.
That countdown has finally started. So we'll be going into our first best of 3 here, partying against Soulkey right now. Soulkey with a bit of a grin on his face, partying as well. We'll see what strats they have in store for us here. At GOMTV.net, we're bringing you the best possible coverage of WCS Korea Season 2 StarLeague. Here with Tastosis. All right. In the bottom right, the champion, the world champion of last year. He is
Master SK Telecom T1 Parting.
And his opponent over here in the upper left, guaranteed to get out of this group. He is
Grandmaster Woongjin Star Soulkey.
all right.
So, Tasteless.
So, Artosis.
Well, what do we talk about here until it is...
Well, we got to wait for this. I'm presuming that Protoss is going to do a fast expand build. The variation where he gets the gateway first and then immediately pushes out that expansion.
Yeah, this is a pretty
Zerg
fast...
will probably just go for 3 bases. I mean, there's always a chance of an all-in or something like that. But, yeah.
This is a pretty fast drone scout as well. See what he wants to do with that. Wouldn't it be funny if we saw a proxy hatch this game?
That would be cool, actually.
Yeah.
I'd be all for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
I love casting
Maybe just
games
hide a
that do
hatchery
weird
in the
stuff
main
like
base. Yeah.
that. Hope the creep doesn't get there in time.
Oh, and look where it's going. Oh, God. Oh, God, Tasteless.
Oh, I think it actually is going to be a proxy hatch.
Yeah. Well, guys, we did warn you that Soulkey's out of the group and has a match this weekend, so these are the types of cheesy plays that I was expecting going into today.
Well, it's fun, too, because you get to experiment with a build like this that you would not normally get to practice against somebody like Soulkey on a televised match. So,
And actually, he didn't end up doing...
rather, sorry. Oh, yeah, he did not.
Which is weird because he sent this so early and then just kind of sat there. You know what? I think that his plan was to hatchery if he saw a pylon at the choke.
Yeah.
Because a proxy hatchery is, or a hatchery in their natural, is much stronger if they're going for a forward fast expand, especially on this map, because you can't have a cannon that covers the ramp and hits the hatchery.
That's a very good point.
So that's probably what he was going for there, but now he is switching it up, and he's at a little bit of a deficit because of that drone being out in the map for so long.
And so we'll know what the Protoss has in store for us here once the Cybernetics core is complete.
Wow, and this is...
More than likely it'll be a Stargate build, but there are other openers you can do.
Do you know what, Tasteless? This build that Soulkey did actually is really nice. It covers both different openers that Parting could have done. If he had gone for a Forge Expand, he could have gone for that offensive hatchery. And since he scouted a Gateway Expand, Soulkey just went instant double hatch before pool, which is a perfect counter to it because this build can't even harm that if the Zerg is good.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
You can't
the Protoss army early on is not really that mobile, not able to do a lot of damage. So nice move there, actually.
Yeah.
And now you see the Protoss going for a fast expand. So yeah, Soulkey in a great position here.
Yeah, very nice opening by him. I quite like. A good way to have, be wanting to open up with something cheesy, but willing to go in the complete other direction if you scout what they're doing.
And now we have the Mothership core out here. This is going to be helpful for just 9 anything that's going to attack here on the ground. And a Twilight Council. You think there's a possibility that he's going to go for DTs here?
Most likely.
Yeah, I mean, he can get those other gases, those two at his expansion pretty quickly here.
I tell you, we'd have to see the Forge already starting about now if he wanted to go for a +1 blink 7 gate all in.
It's kind of funny because we almost always see the Forge no matter what eventually with this build.
Yeah.
And to see that he's going to go for the quick Twilight Council, this is a pretty big variation from what is a typical fast expanding Protoss. So
yeah,
there is some risk involved here. And again, getting the Dark Shine still before the Forge has even started.
Yeah, this is a super fast DT rush, and it might end up working too. If Soulkey doesn't sniff this out, which it's a little bit harder to do because he did get that Stalker and can deny a lot of Overlord scouting.
Yeah.
But, Parting actually doesn't have anything on that side of the base to see the Overlord coming in. And if he just attacks it as soon as the Geyser sees it and the Overlord stays on that path, you will see the Dark Shrine.
All right, so the Zergling's going to come up here. Now, he doesn't want to let that get inside, which he will deny easily. If that Ling gets inside, or even if this Overlord comes over here and spots a Dark Shrine, every second counts here. So he's going to have to be careful, and he now knows. Now, the Dark Shrine is a little bit more than halfway complete, but... that really is quite impactful at this part of the game. This guy, Parting, has invested all of his resources into getting Dark Templars out as quick as possible, and that's hinged on the element of surprise.
Now, it looks like he's actually not going to cancel it, which is okay. Having a Dark Shrine is not the end of the world, but it certainly is the end of any possibility of having a supply lead. So he's going to have to be very careful if he wants to actually get aggressive at any point.
Yeah, we have about 10 Lings being made right now. He's warped in that first Dark Templar. The second one, by the way, warped in outside of the entrance of the base and now headed up here.
And we'll see if a DT can maybe slip by somewhere and get a few drone kills still. But the thing is, the supply for Soulkey is going to go way up. He'll probably just grab Roach Speed as soon as the layer is done and just start making a bunch of units.
Almost gets us around.
Yeah.
And now this DT coming over here to the third base. Not a lot to defend. The DT now attacking the Queen. The Queen retreating.
Always nice to get a Queen kill, but he gets outside of the range of that Spore Crawler.
Almost got us around there as well. And it looks like he's actually not paying attention. Okay, he does now get rid of that Zergling. Now, he's zoned out the Dark Templars, perfectly.
Yeah.
The DTs, I don't even think a drone was killed here.
No, I don't think anything was killed yet. And he's trying to get that one out too, but just barely doesn't make that. Looks like he will lose
nice around here. Now, those Lings, way more expendable than that DT. Look at how many minerals and gas that costs. And, of course, all that time spent trying to get the Dark Shrine up.
Yeah. The DTs, what did they end up doing? Well, I guess they made Soulkey make 8 Lings before he wanted to, and they made him make 3 Spores, which is never really that bad to have. So
you want to get those Spores eventually anyways. So nice trap over here, taking out a few of these Zerglings.
And Parting is making it really look like he wants his third base, and truth be told, I think he does, Tasteless. I couldn't imagine that he's trying to set up into a 2-base all-in after an opening like this.
No, even if he did a 2-base all-in, that army would get there so late, the Zerg should easily be able to take care of it.
Yeah.
So he's going to tear down these rocks over here and expand to that region, a little bit south of there.
And you know what? Soulkey from here, I would say he's droning very well. He's getting Roach Speed to make sure he can't die, because as long as he has Roach Speed, a lot of larva, and he just kind of watches what Parting's doing, there's no way after that failed DT opener that he can go kill him anytime soon. So From here, it's really up to Soulkey where he wants to go. Does he want to go into Mutas, Swarm Hosts, Infestors? Does he just go up to Hive Tech and grab Vipers? It's a buffet for him, Tasteless. He gets to choose whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's got a big variety of options there.
Not that Parting cannot win from here. Absolutely the opposite. Parting can win from pretty much any position against pretty much anybody. But
we've seen Parting play in so many games where he's so behind and just hangs on and manages to eke out that win. It will be, I think, especially tough here against Soulkey, though.
Well, this is kind of interesting. Look at this. He's getting +1 melee attack. Instead of ranged, and he's upgrading his Enduring Locusts. So what does this tell us exactly? I think I'm not sure exactly what the plan is here, but it could be just a handful of Swarm Hosts into something else, whether that is like an Ultralisk tech switch or just like a Ling Muta type of play. But it's a little bit weird. Not exactly what you would expect.
You know, this fourth base, it should be impossible for the Protoss to deny it. Even with the DT here, he should be able to just get over there and push that DT out and get defense up here. Now, Parting is pushing out, and important to note, the supplies are fairly even. In fact, Protoss, usually Zerg has a slightly bigger lead than this, but we'll see, because he does have that good drone amount and can now mass produce a serious army. So.
Yeah, his econ is really solid right now.
You know, with the Swarm Hosts as well, I don't foresee Parting being able to take out either the third or the fourth base.
You know, he's going to try to go and hit some sort of quick timing here, but especially if this Observer gets picked off, then that's the end of that attack.
All right, Protoss is now pushing out here, and this is a pretty far distance to push out, so there's a high chance Parting is going to commit here. Now, with these Locusts, you can see the Protoss army is pretty strong, and especially with the Locusts on creep, they move so much faster, he's going to have to turn around.
Yeah, you know, he has pushed the creep back a little bit, so there is some possibility he'll try to go up and hit that fourth base still. But, you know, he does have the Warp Prism coming as well. Second Robo also, Parting playing pretty solidly from here.
All right, he's going to go ahead and go for these rocks up here. The Locust now coming around from the side.
And he does use some force fields to go down there and block those Locusts so he can get back.
You know, the fundamental problem here for the Protoss is that he can keep throwing up these force fields, but he's going to lose energy on the sentries, whereas the Swarm Host will just be able to regen the Locusts there. So that's a little bit of a tricky situation. And we have a lot more gateways now coming down here, and he's going to finish up his Templar tech.
And you know what? I have to say, I really like the way Parting is playing this, where he's going for Templar Tech, he's getting his Thermalance, a second Robo, and Charge. He's getting all these very important things, but he's going a little bit slower on the Colossi.
Yeah,
so he's not like super committed to Colossi right now. He's kind of developing his entire tech tree and upgrades, and then he'll go into mass Colossi production.
Now we have the Warp Prism coming up here. In the top center. Now with the Swarm Hosts, the rest of the Zerg army pushing out into the more the middle of the map, if he does send that Warp Prism up into the main, he could do a lot of damage.
That's right, but the Warp Prism not really doing anything right now. He is microing very heavily on this army as the Locusts come up for that little flank, and he's mostly out of force fields there, so he's got to be quite careful about that.
All right, he's going to go ahead and drop up ahead. And let's see how much damage this actually does. This is a great technique to use against players that have Swarm Hosts because they tend to lack mobility. And we're going to have 2 DTs coming out here now, and many more about to be warped in.
It looks like some Zealots coming in right now. They do. Ooh, and he does have to actually get away from there. Too many units incoming.
Yeah, completely denied that. And now he gets the Warp Prism with ease.
Yeah. You know, he couldn't have known, but there was no detection when he first flew over there at that fourth base. If he had happened to drop the 2 DTs, he probably could have ended up getting the hatchery or at least killing off several drones.
All right, well, he's turtled up here with the Colossi. It looks like he doesn't want to show that he has more Colossi back in his main as he attacks out here. And I guess that's so that Soulkey does not make additional Corruptors.
Yeah, I think you're completely right on that, Tasteless. Again, he went very slowly on the Colossi at first, and right now, what does it look like exactly to Soulkey?
It looks like it's going to be heavy Templar attack.
Yeah, like Templars, maybe Void Rays mixed in, something like that.
Well, he's going to go for the 5th base now. This is probably one of the trickiest bases for Protoss to actually get up once the Zerg has 5 bases, because this is where Zerg can really get you spread out and also drop and use Nidus Worms. And of course, the Zerg's army is just, we're in like the supreme late game at that point in time.
Yeah. Well, Zerg has taken his 5th base, so we are getting there. Right now with Parting, he's getting that Storm finishing up. 2-2 almost done for these Zerglings. And more Colossus on the way. He's going to have to get down here, though, and defend his third base.
All right, the Locust just now ran out of spawn time, so it looks like he's going to regroup now here at the third and just try to hold off this attack, which should be pretty doable. In fact, it was so doable that Soulkey decides to then turn around. Another Warp Prism, actually, excuse me, 2 Warp Prisms coming up. One will harass the main, the other one will either... Oh, and actually with the Zealots over here, this is going to be really good.
Yeah, it looks like maybe 3-pronged harassment here. In the meantime, trying to engage well on this army. A good Psystorm goes down on those Corruptors. Another couple really great Psystorms, but so many units coming in.
Yeah, there's just so much Zerg, everything. Now, he does take out all these Corruptors, forcing them back. And by the way, supplies now 187 to 184, but these Zealots still doing a lot of damage, taking out a lot of these drones. In fact, for the drone count, it looks like it's 62 to 74 probes right now.
Yeah, Parting's harassment doing a pretty darn good job. He is hitting that 5th base that's morphing. Looks like the main base is sealed up tight, though. Definitely not going to get any damage done there.
Yeah, well, he's, Soulkey's playing this out the way he's supposed to. He's got a ton of Spine Crawlers. Oh my god, though, but the Zealots now coming up here and taking out that bottom base as well. And that, if this goes on for much longer, it will be Parting that's going to be ahead in bases.
Yeah. Well, Parting doing a really great job, Tasteless. To be ahead in bases is a big deal here. If he can start getting a big bank, he can start being a little bit more wasteful and aggressive with his attacks.
Yeah, and now he's warping in a lot more Zealots over here. Now, it looks like with Soulkey in a defensive position, it's going to be very difficult to actually wipe out anything else that Soulkey has. He's continuing to do this to guerrilla harass. Now, really, what Parting gets out of this is that base up for free, whereas Soulkey has to defend.
That's right. And, well, right now he is trying to push forward through some of these locusts. He's got the creep spread way back for Soulkey, so that's really nice against Swarm Host type play.
Parting regrouping now. Oh my god, these 2 Colossus are isolated right here. He cannot afford to lose these. One goes down, the other one is saved with a nice blink there from Parting.
And he is continuing to warp in a lot of Zealots for harassment. Parting actually putting on quite a show here, adding 3 Stargates while this is happening.
Now that's interesting. You think he's going to start pooling Void Rays here, or would it be Tempest?
For sure, Void Rays, I would say, Tasteless. The amount of... Oh my god, that's Broodlords on the way. That's a really nice choice against this army, but when Void Rays start popping out, suddenly not so much anymore. With this many Colossus, he's forced a ton of Corruptors, and to switch into a lot of Void Rays could be very helpful.
Yeah, you make a very good point, Artosis.
But actually, he's getting that Fleet Beacon, Tasteless, so this...
Oh, maybe he is going to go for Tempest.
Yeah, Parting is a player that really does like Tempest in this matchup.
I feel like the Void Rays would have been better, though.
If
in a given situation?
Yeah, if you catch them when they don't have any Infestors, which is what's going on right now, then the Void Ray is definitely going to do a bit better, I would say. But Parting knows best, Tasteless, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to question Parting, isn't it? So we have the 2 armies now going around each other. And it looks like he could attack it and hit pretty well nicely as well with the Warp Prism. Ooh. Now, here's the problem. Does he have a Mothership Core?
Well,
I don't think he can actually recall. The Mothership Core is back there, so he can't recall his army.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Where did you see the Mothership Core? I'm not...
The Mothership Core is by the 3rd, I believe.
Yeah, it is. Whoa. So he's got to be really careful at that. You definitely want your Mothership Core with that main army. All right, we do have Tempests on the way right now, and as those Tempests pop out, actually, that's going to be very useful. There's only 5 Corruptors out, but 10 Broodlords, so a sudden surprise 3 Tempests with this army is going to help out so much.
All right, the Broodlords and the Swarm Hosts are continuing to move around in the center of the map here. I feel like Parting may actually just straight out win this because he's got the right unit comp. And he teched properly while harassing properly.
That is true, but we do have an Ultralisk Cavern on the way, and Ultralisk counter every single unit that Parting has except for that 1 Archon, Tasteless.
This is very true. Blanketed Storms coming down here now, wiping out the rest of these Locusts.
And it looks like those Corruptors really not going to quite get the job done. They are trying to dodge Storms and are making them use a lot of these Storms as well, but here come the Tempests.
All right, Zerg continues to press forward. A nice blink under those Corruptors. The Tempests now continuing to push the Zerg army back.
10 more Corruptors on the way right now. Soulkey.
Tempests are actually just slightly faster than Broodlords, right?
Does that sound right?
I actually don't know.
I've never chased them very far. Let me check for you.
I don't actually know for sure.
Yes, they are actually faster.
Okay.
They're actually a decent amount faster. Huh. Good to know.
The more you
Normally,
know.
as soon as they see my Tempest, more Corruptors on the way, so I kind of keep them back.
right.
In fact, we might see that situation unfold in just a second as 11 Corruptors are about to pop out.
All right, small Zerg army now coming in over here. Oh, nice storms! You can see he tries to block the ramp, but it doesn't quite work out. But this isn't really enough over here to do a ton of damage.
No.
He's just freeing up supply right now.
Yeah, and not just that, he's keeping Parting busy, at least for a moment. Parting could have been in a better position on the map right now, but a lot of his units are back here, and now they have to walk back through the little tiny choke and get out in front to be able to battle this army again, whereas this army freely got into the position it wanted.
Now they got a lot of Tempests up here. We'll see if we can get enough Corruptors out in time, but he's going to have to avoid, well, for instance, these Archons, but Psystorm as well. Whoa.
That's some expensive units right there.
Yeah,
going
huge
down.
mistake.
Indeed. Tempest shooting free units. Definitely something you don't ever want to do.
Exactly. More Psystorms coming down now. He's continuing to push forward. It's really about these Tempests here and the Colossi and the Stalkers there to keep the rest of this army back. That is a lot of Corruptors.
Oh, this is what he needed those Psystorms for. They just used all over the Broodlords.
That's 21 Corruptors.
Oh my god, that is way too many Corruptors. They are going to just destroy most of this army, but that is a nice Psystorm going down. These Tempest actually doing a good job.
It's just too many Corruptors.
I think you're right.
It's so funny because Parting was winning for most of this game, but that's so many Corruptors that everything just dies. And then when you have Broodlords and Swarm Hosts here, you have this army that just continues to replenish itself.
Yeah, you know, if he had saved those storms he used on the Broodlords, I think he was like, oh, I can actually just crush this army right now. But what he didn't realize is how many Corruptors were sitting back for Soulkey. And if he had, with those 4 or 5 more storms on those Corruptors, he can win that battle.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
That's a frustrating place
This
for
is
Protoss.
economic checkmate now. Just look at the supplies here. 108 now to 168. And really this boils down to a bad unit comp from Parting. The fact that Soulkey was simply put able to make that many Corruptors by bringing up his supply and then hitting so hard.
You know, a very nice game indeed, Tasteless, I have to say. Interesting opening by Soulkey. Really, just a solid follow-up to the failed DT.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, this is one of the few maps where you can open up DT Tech, have it do 0, and still be fine. Because, you know, normally what happens is you open up DT Tech, it does nothing, and then Zerg kills your third base with roaches. But here, the third base is basically invulnerable.
Yes. So, there is that additional base up in the upper right for Parting, but there's no way to really defend that. And once Zerg gets into the heart of the Protoss' base, he can destroy all the Stargates, the Warp Gates, anything that makes something that can attack, and that's going to be GG.
Indeed. There's just really nothing left here. Zealot Stalker probably not going to be able to kill every single Zerg building. That's
right, exactly.
Not the most likely.
Not even with perfect Blink Micro, guys.
Not even with absolutely perfect Blink Micro here.
So, yeah, I mean, right now Parting is digesting this loss. And what was actually a very well-played game on both sides. What's so funny?
I was just thinking when you said not even with Blink Micro, the ghost of Hongen like turned over in his grave.
I think even with his ghost there, I don't think he could do it. So, look, the Zerg can deal with this in a multitude of different ways. We do have this small Protoss army going around harassing, but if you just look at the damage output here of the Zerg's army and how quickly everything can be picked off versus this army, the Protoss that's over here attacking into the main, that doesn't really, it doesn't have a lot of, well, let me put it like this. There's no expendable units in there. If they get bruised, they stay damaged.
You see that observer that was in front of the 4th base observer that's now dead? That's the only observer on the map.
Yeah, and the other player has Swarm Host. So.
Yeah, so that observer's like pretty important. If it happens to die, you may as well get out, but yeah, there's not much left. Thing is, Parting, it's a smart thing he's doing to stay in the game because every now and then, you'll kill all the buildings.
The Zerg could accidentally just make some huge mistake, but I just don't foresee that happening here from Parting.
It's pretty hard to see.
All right, so we have the 1 DT coming in over here.
Goodbye, Observer. Goodbye, last Observer.
All right, he gets the Observer.
Well,
now that's checkmate unless Soulkey were to completely screw up and basically make the biggest mistake that he could possibly make in a professional game.
The biggest series of mistakes.
Yeah, actually, it's not even one big mistake. It would be like a series of them.
Yeah.
So we're sort of we're seeing a bit of the aftermath there. Now, interesting enough, though, Zerg is not really mining when you look at it.
Yeah, it's not.
There's not a lot of money coming in here.
Yeah, if we look at the actual standing armies, 5 Broodlords and 13 Swarm Hosts, I would say certainly should be able to take out 7 Zealots, 9 High Templars, and
But let's
18
see, is he going to
Stalkers.
make one of these mistakes?
You know, that's some really great Psy Storms, but...
Actually, that is some very great Psy Storms. But, you know, they just...
How many did they
damage up
kill?
what's good.
0.
None killed there, and there's no Observer.
And now he has no High Templars.
No, get under the ground. Okay, wait, he's all right. He did transfusion. And now with these Stalkers getting underneath the Broodlords, he's going to make these Locusts here do a lot more damage than they would normally do.
You know what's kind of funny is if he kills all these Broodlords, like, if he's perfect with these Stalkers, I'm like really trying to find a way here, but like the thing is you have to burrow and unburrow Swarm Hosts to actually end up killing things. And look at that, he's actually picked off so much here.
Well, I think the fundamental problem is that the Protoss doesn't have an Observer. He absolutely does not have an Observer.
No,
right?
he does not.
He has no Observer. So.
Absolutely no Observer. And in fact, he has no robotics. So that's an issue as well. He has almost no economy. Can't really even build the robotics right now.
And now he's going to be able to get up to this Nexus at the upper right. This was actually a much closer game by the very end of it.
Yeah,
you see these DTs killing off drones here.
Yeah, the economy is actually completely gone for Soulkey, but he has like plenty of detection. The thing is, the Swarm Hosts just are endless free units. You know, they're going to kill this, and then eventually he can bring it back and, you know, save a building. He can bring one Swarm Host in the main base of party and let it go to town, and it'll kill everything.
Slowly but surely, and that's going to be a GG. That was actually a very cool little match we saw there.
Yes,
and we're not done yet. We're going to go on to game number 2 here in this best of 3.
Yeah, it's very nice to see Soulkey really putting forth a really excellent game. You know, something that we weren't 100% sure if that was going to happen today.
And I got to say, it was actually one of those series that you can really get educated about StarCraft 2 late game in, you know?
Yeah, it was really fun. I liked the ideas of what Parting was doing. You know, it's too bad that the High Templars ended up not working out. If he had happened to kill those Swarm Hosts, he might have actually had a chance there.
Well, it was almost painful to watch because he got a blanket of storms off on every single Swarm Host, but it didn't kill a single one.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't kill them, then they can heal
for transfuse as well. And
exactly.
The thing is, when it gets into a situation like that, you have to look at what the armies actually are and the long-term usage of those armies. Like Templars, yeah, they're going to be very useful. Blink Stalkers, yeah, very useful. But Swarm Hosts are going to be like ridiculous in a situation like that. You know, you snipe that last Observer. They're really good against Templars. And, you know, that's all I got to say about that.
Well, there's not much else to say about that. Our next map is going to be Anaconda, one of our newest maps that we've gotten to cast together.
Yeah.
And remember, you know, right now Parting, he played very well, but if he loses this next game, that's an 0-2.
Yeah.
And he's gone. Soulkey only has to win either this game, or if he loses this game, he can go to the next game and win that.
Yeah, and even if Parting wins 2-0 from here, and you know Soulkey loses 0-2 from here, Soulkey's still getting out of the group, and Parting's still not. So
that's very true.
It's a little bit of a bittersweet taste if you win.
Most important part of this entire match we're going to cast here today. Yeah. So on Anaconda, what do you think is going to happen?
All right, Anaconda, it's really actually very difficult for me to say here, Tasteless. Obviously, if you're a Protoss player here, you're probably thinking about taking a very fast expansion with a gateway.
Yep.
For Zerg, well, the thing is, Soulkey showed us kind of a cool opener there where he scouted really quickly with the drone, and it looked like he was planning an offensive hatchery and then switched up. So maybe something like that again.
Is there any chance you think of Party doing some kind of crazy all in this game?
There's always the chance of crazy Parting all-ins, yeah.
We'll see. Looks like the map is now loading right now as we go into the second game here in our first best of 3 out of the 4 we will bring you today here at GOMTV.net, where we're covering the WCS Korea StarLeague Season 2.